What unimpressive things are people idiotically proud of? Not eating any vegetables. Known a few people state it as if it's some kind of achievement giving themselves constipation. I'm not a rabbit, maybe not, but you're an idiot. Had a couple of younger classmates at university who were like that and said that exact thing. 19 years old. Made most of their choices based on what seemed manly/tm or affirmed their newfound independence. For example, was cloudy as F and supposed to rain one day. One of them refused to bring an umbrella because his mom had told him he should. His words. He got soaked when it started raining and still tried to argue that this was the best possible outcome. Going into work while sick. Had a coworker who bragged on social media about having strep throat, but was still working because she values hard work. We were hairstylists. I avoided her afterwards, but came down with strep less than a week later. Risking the health of other people isn't a bragging right. Edit, strep. Not strep. Edit 2. I would also like to add that if you're stuck at a job where you have no choice but to go in, even when you're severely ill because your manager is a shithead, I get it. I've been in that situation and it sucks. However, working while you're ill and spreading a bacterial infection is not the wholesome, feel-good moment that my coworker thought it was, and she mocked other stylists when they called in sick. She took it to an extremely toxic level, and all because she wanted to impress a manager who forgot her name not even a month after she quit. Edit 3. Strep throat is a bacterial infection. I called it a virus earlier. My bad. Drinking a lot. I know people, grown-up people in their late 20s, who will brag about partying out on their lawns because they couldn't make it from the car to the front door. Horrifying that they drive like that. After spending some time in C, I found out how terrifyingly normal it is for many people to drive drunk. A friend almost killed himself while his pregnant wife was at home waiting for him, and he was arguing that it didn't have to do anything with the bottle of whiskey he drank, and it was the rain. A year earlier his cousin killed herself driving drunk, and he keeps talking about how horrifying her body looked, but still didn't see it as a reason to stop. I once had a coworker brag about how dark his pee is. My kidneys ain't been working right for 8 to 10 years bro. I am so dehydrated because water is for pussies. I was working in the hood and talking to this older guy on his bicycle. He said he can't drink water around people because he'll lose his street kid. Man, you are a 60-year-old who roams the streets on a bike. Water is a necessity of life. I'm an alpha, sure thing. Big guy, you're so alpha you had to get a shirt that said it too. I have a coworker who refers to himself as a beta male and says he wishes he was an alpha male. He's always talking about it. He's 5 feet tall and says if he was taller, he would be an alpha male. It's so cringy. I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. Driving better when drunk. I've heard that ridiculous statement more times than I should. I'm so nervous when I'm drinking and driving, it makes me focus more, so I'm a better driver. I've heard that a number of times. That's the thing, drunk and drowsy driving. You may not be so impaired that you are swerving or losing control, but your reaction time is slower. You lose your ability to drive defensively. So if another car swerves towards you, you won't be able to dodge it in time. Yep, it's like playing video games when you're tired. You don't become incompetent, but you do get potato reflexes. Not being able to cook. I keep hearing people bragging about how the only thing they can do is boil water. Edit. I come from a conservative background where people still have gender roles. So women brag they can't cook to show that they are the exception, and men brag to establish the traditional patriarchal role. I didn't misunderstand self-deprecating humor/sarcasm/joke for a brag. All I can do is boil water. But it's not a brag. It's a cry for help. After you boil the water, try adding some pasta. That's the one dish I can make. Spaghetti and sauce from a jar. Saying yes like in a land of sheep, I'm the wolf. Sure thing. Dude, a lion doesn't have to tell you it's a lion. If a lion tells you it's a lion, it's a lion. If a lion tells you it's a lion, you're high. Nothing surprises me more than when people are proud of their ignorance. Knowledge is no guarantee of wisdom, but prideful ignorance is proof of its absence. To know is not to be wise. Many men know a great deal, and are all the greater fools for it. There is no fool so great a fool as a knowing fool, but to know how to use knowledge is to have wisdom. Charles Haddon Spurgeon. I love the expression, educated beyond their intelligence. Someone once bragged to me, like thumbs and suspenders level bragging. His new girlfriend's dad owned a used car lot, and he got an awesome interest rate on his new, to him, truck. His rate was 24%. His new girlfriend's dad doesn't like him very much. Correction. Her dad loved him. Cha-ching. I'm fierce. I don't hold back. I tell it how it is, i.e., I have no sense of diplomacy or tact. I always think of the phrase, people who are brutally honest care more about the brutality than the honesty. There are two types of brutally honest people. First are the people that are actually brutally honest, but generally only to people they care about, and after there's developed some understanding that you prefer not to sugarcoat things when it's not needed. These people don't go out of their ways to tell people they are brutally honest, and they also don't go out of their way to be brutally honest when it's unsolicited and unnecessary. The second are people that aren't even honest and are just assholes and use that as an excuse to be an asshole. These people will tell you they're brutally honest quicker than you'd find out a crossfitting vegan likes to eat spinach after tossing a kettlebell around. Another term to use, thoroughly honest. Don't sugarcoat things, but don't be ugly about things either. If you really have to be honest about something, then tell the truth. The whole truth. And nothing but the truth. Anything else either isn't honest or isn't kind. When they say that's just how I'm, especially when it could hurt themselves or others, I just tell it like it is. I just tell it like it is. I won't apologize for me. I'm only who I'm meant to be. I speak the truth. And since my youth, I've learned to say it like I see. I do not keep my thoughts inside. I shout them out with angry pride. I speak them loud and pleased and proud, unwelcome and unjustified. Perhaps you'll think I'm being blunt, while other people take the brunt. But soon you'll find I speak my mind. Because, in fact, I'm a cunt. How little sleep they're getting by on this, and reminds me of what doesn't kill you makes you stronger is dumb. You definitely need to avoid such things and cultivate a life that can be easier. What doesn't kill you usually succeeds in a second attempt. Eugene Krabs. What doesn't kill should make you aware you were being an idiot. I worked with a guy who, otherwise very smart, was extremely proud of the fact that he could remove the foil from the neck of a wine bottle without cutting it. He brought it up so many times I lost count. I just let him have it, though, because he seemed to need it. Of all the things in this thread, this is the most reasonable thing to be proud of. Yeah, I was gonna say, if someone did this quickly for me, I would be impressed. Am I missing something? They just pull off. I've had mixed results myself. Some come right off. Some, I swear, are glued on to make me look like a jackass. Being bad with computers. People wear it as a badge of honor, and I find it so frustrating. A. Most people know more than they realize. B. Making even a bit of time to learn how to use them can make a big difference for most people. My mom is a nurse. She has been fired from her hospital for refusing to do electronic charting. She isn't working and tells everyone who asks that they fired me because I don't know how to work a computer. Can you believe how ridiculous that is? If your computer skills are so dismal that a hospital fires a nurse of 32 years, it must be bad. Not reading. TL. Doctor. Riyadh. I had to read it twice. Damn you. I overheard a co-worker recently brag to a girl that he'd already had COVID 3 times, and during his most recent bout, he went to the gym every day that he had it. That S killed my dad. But no, you're a total badass because you didn't skip leg day and decided to spread your germs all over the place. What a douchebag. Swearing loyalty to a ref politician or some rich p lol. Idolizing a politician is like believing a stripper likes you. Idolizing anybody is so incredibly unattractive to me. Working so hard, it gets in the way of their personal life and well-being. I missed my kid's graduation. I was too busy finishing a report I've been so busy. I haven't slept in 3 days. I start so early and leave so late. I haven't felt direct sunlight in months. None of it makes me think, wow, you're such a dedicated worker. It makes me think you're a tool with terrible time management, sacrificing your life for a company that doesn't care about you. From a managerial standpoint, I think more highly of workers who can get their work done in 8 hours, 5 days a week. That's as efficient. The ones who work themselves to the ground quickly reach a point where their per hour work yield plummets, and the work they are accomplishing isn't done right because they are such a mess. Working 70 hours and making a post about it, you're doing it wrong, dude. Yes. Don't you just love working your ass off for money that you can't even use due to constantly being at work? I work 70 hours a week to afford rent and groceries. I doubt you brag about being a hustler on the grind though. People will always do what they think they need to do, which makes perfect sense. It just sucks that you need to. There's 0.5% ancestry of whatever sounds cool. I don't brag about it, but I'm curious where the 5% Mongolian came from in a family of European descent. My parents and my sisters have none of that. Like, where did it come from? Genghis Khan has entered the chat. Not reading. Anytime a book was made into a movie, he'd always proudly say he doesn't read books. He did this for a while until a romantic interest of his told him that's really sad, and you shouldn't be proud of that. He'd changed his ways, and now loves reading. It's very odd to be proud of not reading. Exactly. And people wear it as a badge and say "oh, I'm not a nerd." And I'm like, you don't have to be a nerd to read. And it's no chore. People annoy me when they say that. Then again, people annoy me with a lot of things. How everything triggers their self-diagnosed OCD. That version of OCD where instead of having obsessive compulsions they are just a quirky neat freak. My last boss was great in many ways, but nitpicked and micromanaged in many more. But always said it's my OCD. I'm sorry, I can't help it. Like, no Brenda, you're a control freak and you can help it. You choose to make up a mental illness diagnosis instead at the cost of my mental well-being. Likely, yes, she's just being that way on purpose. But it's also possible that she has OCPD, which is very much about perfectionism, nitpicking, and imposing order on things and or people. My dad likes to brag that he's never once changed a baby's nappy. He has 3 kids. Well, go you for being a res father and husband. My dad and stepmom had an agreement. He didn't have to change diapers, 1 kid, but she never had to mess with any kind of toilet again. Ever. Not just fixing the home toilet, but never emptying or cleaning the compositing toilet at the camp, in the boat, RVs, whatever. Honestly, I think she made the right choice. Kid's 20 now, and my dad still has to deal with shit. She so won that agreement. I used to work in a daycare and there are few diapers that make a lasting imprint on my day. But composting toilets. If you play your cards right earlier on, you too can get early toilet duty retirement. Missing breaks at work for a company that wouldn't care if they died the next day. Their followers on social media. Honestly, I can understand this if you produce content like comics, blog articles, cartoons, etc. It feels good if something you make gets appreciated. I recently started a Tumblr blog about obscure mythological creatures and it's genuinely great when followers compliment you on something that took a lot of hard work to write and research. Edit, since several people have asked. The blog is on Bestiarium. Tumblr.com https://bestiarium. Tumblr.com if you want to check it out. Shoot, even some YouTubers and TikTokers make some awesome content. And I'm happy when those types of people gain some traction. But the ones who are just trying to be the next Kardashian or fucking pranksters are just awful. Parents who think their 5-year-old is smart for being able to play on an iPad. 1. How little sleep they got. 2. What an outrageous amount of coffee they drink. 3. Black coffee for some reason. 4. Putting in an unhealthy amount of hours into work. Coming from a workaholic myself. 5. With my fellow stoners specifically, how much weed they consume in a day. Tolerance is a bitch, not a point of pride. Yeah, I slept 2 hours, but I get by on my 15 cups of black coffee at my job, where I work night shifts and do weed all night. Being rich through inheriting money, they always seem to just speedrun to feeling pride around it, as if they earned it. I know someone like this. He bounces from job to job because he has problems with authority, but he doesn't care because his mom always pays for everything. What's worse is that he treats his mom like shit. How long it's been since they read a book.